QB4 for me is Dillon Gabriel from Oregon / all of the other colleges that he played at.
I did the same thing. So we're all going to be higher. I did Dillon Gabriel at 4. I mean, we're going to all have... Yeah, you, me, and Renner are going to be higher on Dillon Gabriel. And again, I don't think there's a big difference between him and whoever lands at 8 on my list here. But there's some reasons why we like him. So let's get into it. What do you like about Dillon Gabriel?
So again, like I don't know why the physical traits thing. I don't think people see it particularly well. Aside from anything else, like how much should you value it? I don't trust people's analysis of it. Like again, I go back to Baker Mayfield was short, so people assumed he couldn't throw the ball very hard, even though Baker Mayfield has a cannon for an arm. Dillon Gabriel is short, so people think that Dillon Gabriel has like marginal NFL tools physically, but he's athletic, he's strong, and he's got a strong arm. Like Dillon Gabriel has functional, if not pretty solid, NFL physical traits other than the fact that he's short.
I think he zips it, man. I mean, sometimes it depends on the order in which you watch them. So I watched Shedeur Sanders, Jaxson Dart, and then Dillon Gabriel. I think he zips it better than both Shedeur and
strongest
Dart.
of the three, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think he rips the ball. And then he has this pass against Ohio State, first Ohio State game. Denzel Burke, the corner for Ohio State, he had a rough game. But Dillon Gabriel's on the far hash mark, and Denzel Burke looks like, I'm not going to cover this go ball on the far hash. He's not even going to try. Nobody tries this throw. And Gabriel puts it about 50-plus yards, mostly in stride, to Tez Johnson. But I really think Burke just stopped covering it because QBs don't make the far hash go ball throw. They don't throw that pass very often. I thought Gabriel surprised him with his arm. So again, I'm not saying he's Josh Allen, but if you're ranking arms in the class, I think Gabriel's closer to the top than he is. You know, better arm than Will Howard, better arm than Jaxson Dart, than Shedeur Sanders, and some of the other guys that are considered to be big arm, or that are considered either near the top of the draft or a guy like Will Howard, who's considered a toolsy type of player.
Again, like it's do you comment on these things as if you don't comment on them, they're just sort of irrelevant. They're not strengths, they're not weaknesses. I think you're actually commenting on Dillon Gabriel's physical tools. I think he has a strong arm, not just like a normal arm that we don't need to talk about. I think he's athletic enough for that to be a factor, and actually a positive in his game. Like he's short and stocky, but he's powerful. He's got good running ability. And his arm is legit. Like it's not just a non-factor. It's actually a positive to his game. The other thing, obviously, is like literally the most experienced quarterback to enter the NFL ever. I mean, 63 starts in college. That's already that's now breaking the Bo Nix record, which was the previous most experience ever. Unlike Bo Nix, he was actually good everywhere. Like Bo Nix at least had struggles on his way to being a 60 start quarterback. Like Dillon Gabriel was good everywhere. 63 starts, as Renner pointed out on our show, was also a freshman starter in high school in a high volume passing attack. This guy might legitimately have attempted more passes since the age of 14 than any other player to ever enter the NFL. 6-year college career, UCF, Oklahoma, and Oregon. Top 90 in PFF grade in 2 of those 3 places, and was high 80s in the 3rd place. This is a guy that's always been good and done it at multiple different programs. Again, despite being short and not being the kind of prototypical 6'4", 250-pound guy.
And so with the short thing, it felt like an issue for Bryce Young until it didn't, right? Bryce Young went into the NFL, looked overwhelmed for his first year, plus his first 2 starts, got benched, and then all of a sudden he looked down the stretch last year, he looked like the guy that went number 1 overall at Alabama. So we thought Tua's arm at the NFL level looked weak. It looked like a hindrance his first couple of years, but he offset that. And then he eventually offset that with Mike McDaniel and the anticipation and the other skills that he brought to the table. I'm not saying Gabriel's definitely going to do that, right? The height is still an issue, but he's played like that his entire career. And I'll say this too, right? After watching Shedeur Sanders and Jaxson Dart, not only does he have a better arm, I think he's quicker. I'm watching Jaxson Dart and Shedeur Sanders trying to avoid pressure. Gabriel does that better than both of the guys that we've ranked ahead of him. And he's produced at a high level at multiple spots, as we've said, UCF and Oklahoma, and at Oregon. Didn't finish great at Oregon, but he played well in some big games, including the game-winning touchdown run against Ohio State in their regular season matchup. So he had the I can't remember. I think Texas ended up pulling off the win, but he had what should have been a game winner against Texas in the Red River rivalry in 2023. Making some big throws. So I like a lot of Gabriel's game. I think he has enough arm to get the ball outside the numbers. He likes to throw the ball on the run, does a pretty good job of that as well. I think he's just a really good, productive quarterback. And he's also, remember, sitting at the Senior Bowl, watching him, he's sitting in there trying to go through reads. He is trying to play quarterback. He's not trying to make plays outside the pocket. I think he judges when he should do that fairly well as well. When he should make a play, when he should sit and go through reads, when he should scramble and try to make something happen outside of structure.
All right, that's enough of that, Steve. Over 50% of the people listening to this are not subscribed right now. So click that button and then we can get back to whatever it is Steve's telling you about. Yeah, I don't think, again, I think he's a tick worse than some of these other guys at a couple of those things, the decision making, the accuracy overall. But in terms of once you're outside of that big three and you're like, who's the next quarterback that we think has a shot to start, a shot to make it as a starter, Gabriel will be the guy I'd pick.
The other part of his game, so one of the things I don't love about Gabriel's game is actually his short area accuracy. So like he's the complete inverse, I think, of the stereotype, right? He's supposed to not have a great arm, so you would assume his short area ball location is great. He's kind of all over the place from what I've seen on some of the short stuff, whether it's slants or screens. He's kind of all over the place, but he rips the deep out, rips the seam route. He can layer an unbelievable layered seam route against UCLA right past potential first-round linebacker Carson Schweschinger. I think he's actually a better downfield thrower than he is short area stuff. So it's kind of inverse of what the short quarterback stereotype, the poo-armed stereotype that you would expect.
The poo-armed stereotype.
Yeah. Diddly poo, didn't do squat. Is that it on Gabriel? Is that all we got?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have that much to say about him other than I think he's kind of being underrated and slept on a little bit in the process.
Here's the last thing I'll say. I'm going to contradict myself here. Perfect. The NFL, we go into these runs, Sam, of what are the most recent hits at the quarterback position. And I mentioned earlier in the show that we had this run of the toolsy quarterbacks being bad, and then all of a sudden they started hitting Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, however you want to break those guys down. We're now in the middle of a run where the experienced quarterbacks, we're starting to sneak in some experienced QBs. Brock Purdy, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. So to me, overreacting to recency bias, I think Dillon Gabriel's that guy, right? Production profile, QB skills. The only knock is the height. I'm not saying he would be going round one if he's 6'3", but maybe he should. Actually, I will say that if he's 6'3", he's going round one with everything that he's done. Boom. Similar thing that we said about Bryce Young. Now, he's not good enough to go round one like Bryce Young did a couple years ago, despite his height. But Gabriel's the guy. He would be the top guy I want to take a shot on in the developmental role, slightly above the rest of this group 4 through 8 here.
Yeah, we're in this world now where I don't think anyone knows what to do with the current kind of, this is the college football landscape. Like the profiles of players that are coming out in terms of college career are very different. And we're now seeing guys work out who have only been a one-year starter, right? It doesn't matter if you sucked for 4 years at 2 different colleges. If you suddenly end up in the right one and you break out and you look amazing, you can be Jaden Daniels, right? Like it's not necessarily true that if you couldn't work in the first couple places, like that's a red flag. That's a problem. Equally, we're seeing guys who have this like extremely extensive career and they've been in multiple different places and they've been good everywhere. Like, I don't think anyone knows anymore, like what to make of any of this stuff other than it's unusual. It's new. Like it's a novelty. So guys like Gabriel, who have been at multiple different programs and been good at all of them and have played in college, for 6 years, previously, I think that would have been for some reason, shape or form, like a red flag. It would have been like, this is a weird profile. I'm not loving this. Now it's like, this is just the world. This is just college football. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.